Hey, my friend, this is the longer podcast, but this one's not that long, so you can probably listen to it in 20 minutes or so. And it's learning, really. It's all about learning from giving yourself a good old talking to. Yeah, because that's what I did. But I let rip. If you want to know what I did and how I did and what I learned from it, have a listen after this. Hey, welcome to the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. So pleased you're here. Your time is valuable and precious. So what I would like to do is fill that time that you share with me with the most shiny golden nuggets to help improve your life, to get your goals, your wishes, your dreams to come to fruition quicker, bigger, better than you could ever imagine. Using your imagination, using hypnosis, using NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, all of that, using all things of the mind. No brain hacks, but real solid processes to deconstruct what people do to become great. And then find the processes that we can install that in ourselves to support you in your dreams and get what you really want in life. Anyway, who am I? I'm Paul Clough, and just going to have conversations with you in this podcast and get you thinking, but also share those processes because we're going to have so much fun. That's it. We're going to have fun for a change because we can sit down for a spell and have more fun than we can stand, creating the world we want to live in and be the person we want to be in that world. The only limitation is your imagination. And you got bucket loads, by the way, bucket loads. Have a listen. You really must.
Warning. You are entering into the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. Too late. Personal Development Unplugged.
Just the other day, I was writing in my journal, as I do. Every morning, well, most mornings, write in my journal. Things to think about, questions to ask. And then this particular morning I was pissed off with myself. So I decided to give myself a rare old bollocking. I really did. I tore into myself. It was, it's the stuff I wouldn't, normally I wouldn't do this, but I just went on and on about myself because I was really I was reviewing things, where I was and things like that. And I just thought, well, to myself, are you really doing the stuff that you bloody know? You got all these wonderful skills, or you've learnt wonderful skills. But do you use them? And I know I can give myself the excuse, well, maybe I'm just doing them unconsciously, so I don't recognize them consciously that I'm doing them because it's unconscious. And maybe that's okay. But I know there's a lot I'm not doing. And it wasn't pretty. It was brutal. I really gave myself a bit of a kicking, really. And I thought to myself a bit, what am I trying to do here? Giving myself this verbal chastisation, if that's a word. So why do I learn these things? Because that was the other question. If you learnt all these, why did you learn them if you're not going to use them? The art of communication, that's the whole, or one of the core skills in, obviously, hypnosis. Because you're communicating with people in a way that to get them to explore, create, and find things. So, why are you here? There's a question. Why are you here in personal development? I guess it's just to learn things, isn't it? And hopefully my inconsistency of using the stuff I've learned, because I'm not happy about that. I'm not proud about that. And I've got a lot to share. But I've got a lot of work to do as well. And that's what personal development's about, isn't it? To improve ourselves. That's why you're here again, isn't it? To learn which is you can improve. But what for? What would you improve yourself for? Because sometimes we just go into this thing of self-improvement, but do we have general goals? I know we've got specific goals sometimes, but the general goals of self-improvement, is it for being a better you, creating a better career, having that relationship or relationships? Sometimes we forget that, because I know I have to think of, why did I do all my learnings? And then question why I'm not actually going back. Well, I am going back because this is a part of my learning. I guess my bollocking was, it's time to look back and maybe just bring the wagons round in a circle so I can start just remembering again. Maybe here to get hypnotized. Yeah. I can do that. I can do that any time at the drop of a hat. Yeah, that's good. But I just felt this bollocking, this giving myself, I wouldn't talk to anybody else like that, which is, again, the thing you'd say, well, why would you talk to yourself like that? But I got to the end of it, and it was a little bit jokey, because I did realise I'd gone too far. And all I was trying to do was, in the most stupidest way, is to remind myself, yeah, you're on a path, Cluffy. There's stuff that you know that you need to keep practicing, because once you've got it, if you don't use it, you lose it, I guess. And that's what I was trying to remind myself. And there's some important things I need to do or want to do that I haven't done yet. So I've got to start thinking of how I put time towards that. Getting those rituals maybe, or time blocking something out, thinking time. But also then I thought, well, if I did a podcast around this, yes, I'm showing you the person that I am, where I am in my own development. Got some good stuff, but I still have to keep going back. You see, you hear these things from the so-called gurus. They had such a terrible time in life, and now they are the most wonderful person in the world, and they are practicing everything they teach and share. Now, it'd be good if they could do that. But what I did think was, well, I like to share the things that aren't going quite so well, because I think that's where we learn. I can always remember when I used to do my NLP trainings, and we used to do exercises. So we'd be taught a process, and then we'd go away one-to-one and do that exercise both ways. So one would be a client and one would be the practitioner. Then we'd reverse it. And I wasn't setting my intention to fail, but I always wanted it to be the most difficult process or exercise I could do. Because there was people who would just get it like that, so sweet, and it would go perfectly. And they'd turn it around and they'd have the most perfect client and another perfect practitioner. But when you get into the real world, it's not like that. So I wanted the most difficult processes to learn, or not the most difficult process to learn, but the most difficult exercise in which to learn that process. The most difficult experience to learn it. Because I knew I was in a safe environment anyway. I had a trainer there, I had helpers there if I got into trouble. But I also knew that if I could do it in that situation with all the things that could go wrong, did go wrong, and still come out of it smelling of roses, when it comes to the real world, I'd smash it. And in those type of things, I know I do. So now I've got to get back into this thing about smashing it for myself. So the thing I wanted to say was, though, I think hopefully in sharing the things that I do, the good things, and maybe the things I find difficulty with, shows there's not a guru here for a start. But it's a sharing. Because I just wanted to tell you that, there's no, as I said, there's no guru here, because we're in this together. It's a learning process together. We just are maybe on different levels sometimes. There'll be people who are on levels above me, people levels below me, but we're just all learning at a different pace. And it's that sharing. And again, if we share those difficult times, that's where all the learning is, isn't it? So you get to come with me in my difficult times. and go, I can learn from Cluffy. So when those difficult times come, if they do in some shape or form similar to that, you've got some learnings, some experience that you could deal with or deal with it and be more successful, maybe more gentle on yourself, and also learn to adapt, because it's that adaptation, that flexibility of a process, a strategy. So I wanted that to come through, and this is all coming from this bollocking, by the way. But then, I hope you like this form of sharing, though. Sharing difficult times. I'm happy to do that. I do a lot of it on when I give live Zoom calls to my son's mind mastery group, because I think it's those personal true stories where I've learnt and the learners can. It's like reading a book of someone who studied their art for years, and then they've condensed it all down into one book that you could read in a week. So you could learn and adapt what they took them years. And you could do it all in 1 week. And this is what I'm hoping to do. And I hope you, as you do, and you have, share with me some of your difficulties, some your successes, how you got over those difficulties, all the things that you want, things you'd like help with. Because it makes me go and find different ways, makes me think. Then I share it with you. But one of the other things I thought of, because, as I say, when I was giving myself this bollocking, and I got to the end of it, and I was a little bit smiley, thinking to myself, okay, Cluffy, yeah, I think you made your point. And then it was, give me a break. Let's give myself a break. Because that's what I want you to do. If ever you're having maybe an off day, or maybe you look at yourself and go, I didn't do what I planned to do, and I'm not proceeding as fast as I want to, or that didn't work out today. Then we exaggerate it, don't we? Because it's negative, so we're going to double it. So this is my whole world's falling in, the sky's falling in, chicken licking and all that stuff. But we just say, hang on a minute. Let's have a break, because nothing is perfect in this world. I mean, the only thing near to perfection, I think, is when we have that wonderful positive intentions of helping others and finding the resources and skills to do that which helps ourselves. But we can give ourselves a break because we're all learning. And I say the things where we fall over, we have a little difficulty, that's where the golden nuggets are, aren't they? Providing that we do actually review them. We do pick them up, we store them, we ask questions, we get that wonderful little book that we've all got now, haven't we? I nearly said Peter Puzzle book, because we used to have Jenny Journal, didn't we? For that's, if you go way, way back in the podcast, I always used to refer to Jenny Journal. So maybe we've got Peter Puzzle book. You too can get a Peter Puzzle book by just getting a piece of paper or a book with paper in it, and just take these experiences and write a few questions down that you can then think about and write the answers down, because that's real thinking. Thinking and writing the answers down, and you'll find there'll be things inside that come out on your pen that you weren't aware of. So when things do go wrong, and we review them in a positive way, because there's no failure, only feedback, we can learn from this, but we just give ourselves a break. Because I think that's great when we do. Not letting yourself off the hook. It's just acknowledging that, well, today I wasn't at my best. But that's today. And tomorrow is another today. And I can learn from this and move on. And that's the whole thing. Because I wrote on the notes I made of this thing that there's a but. And normally I don't like buts. But this is the big but. I don't like this big but. No, don't go there. And what it is give yourself a break. If you need one. Could be 5 minutes. Could be a day. But don't give yourself too much of a break, because that can get a habit. So we've got to push through these things. We've got to learn from these things. But if we just say, we'll leave it for a day. Well, just leave it for a couple of days, a week. You know what happens? It's that slippery slope that gets steeper and steeper. It's difficult to climb up, but damn easy to slide down. Just imagine yourself sliding yourself all the way down to where you don't want to be. Because that's when we do give up, isn't it? So give yourself a break so you can get some energy, get some clarity. Even use that time to give yourself a break to learn what's going on by acknowledging it, finding out what the intention is of all the emotions going here. Maybe just notice what you were trying to do and what you did to do that, to get there, and notice, that was a silly step, wasn't it? What could I have done differently? So how could I have done today differently? So it would be a good day. So then you can use it in the future. And that's the break I'm talking about giving yourself. Give yourself a break. Give yourself a bollocking sometimes, but do it with a smile. Because your best friend's in there. And they're listening. So make sure it's with a smile, because you know what you're doing is teasing yourself to learn. Because that's what I found out. I can tease myself now to learn. And I can do it in a journal, do it in a Peter Puzzle, Jenny journal, or in real life, or talking to somebody, sharing your experience. Maybe they have got over that type of thing and they will then share what they did to get out of it. But you need to share your experience first, because sharing is a way of learning. Because if you can verbalize it to somebody, you will see it differently. We always say, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that's what you'll be doing. You'll be looking from the outside in, because you're going to be trying to describe what happened. So you will be looking in from like that meta view, that third position looking down. So that's a good thing to share. And as soon as we say the word share, please do share this. Share the thoughts. Hopefully, be kind. Be kind with yourself. That's why I say do it with a smile. But do share this episode, and please tell everyone of the Personal Development Unplugged podcast. Hopefully you're getting something out of it. If you are, please share that. Maybe you stick a review up, but that's going too far, Cluffy. And remember, if there's anything you need in the form of help and assistance that we can think about through this podcast, please do email me. Simple address, feedback at personaldevelopmentunplugged.com. Because that's me, only me here. And the very last single plug before I go today, because this is quite a short one, I guess, isn't it? Short, longer podcast, is I still got that bloody Christmas discount on the Supreme Inner Confidence course. Grade 6 specialized hypnosis tracks and videos to take you from anxiety to supreme inner confidence, the real you. So go to paulcloughonline.com for that. Flick down, there's a lovely little video I do, it takes you through the thoughts of what goes on. And it's dirt cheap. Value-wise, it's immense. I wouldn't say that, would you? Okay. Anyway, it's time to fly. So go fly there too. See you again soon. Ta-da.
Warning, you are now leaving the unplugged mind of Paul Clough. It's time to fly on your own. Be brave, my friend.
Personal Development Unplugged.